represent the jumper. Stacky, you work hard for this, mate. You can roll for the team, mate. We're all behind.
Brendan Stack in the side tonight as a replacement for Robert Murphy. Here's the toss of the coin.
Jasper, we're doing the toss for us. Chris, Brad, you're the visitor. You can have a call. Heads is the call. Good toss. And it's a tail.
That's a good start for the Tigers. Tim Watson is down on the boundary. And Tim, what have you got planned tonight?
Well, we're going to spend a lot of time with the Bulldogs tonight. Rodney Eade at quarter time. At half-time, I'll speak to him again three-quarter time. I actually spent a bit of time with him pre-game tonight. He actually talked about the fact that it's been such an unusual week for Richmond. They're not quite sure what they can expect tonight. He believes they might play a really free-flowing sort of game tonight. They are concerned about Deledio. His form last weekend was very good. Liam Picken will go to him. They're the #1 uncontested marking side in the competition, Richmond, so they will be looking to add plenty of pressure to the way they play again tonight, the Bulldogs, and in particular that back six too. They do like to handball their way out of defence, and you can expect some real pressure coming from the Bulldogs forwards tonight. That's been part of their focus tonight. Ben Cousins will also get some special treatment when he comes on the ground. Expect him to get a close tag. They will not want him running free and creating.
Lee Matthews, you made a decision, I think, going into round 22 last season. That was going to be your last game. In stark contrast to the way Terry's gone about it this week and tonight.
Yeah, I guess I went to the footy knowing it would be the last game, but no one else did. You just try to play the role exactly the same as if it was your first, second or 50th or 100th game. It's a very relaxed environment. Terry, I've never seen a coach in the coach's box laughing and joking and looking really relaxed. So it'll be interesting to see in that relaxed state how Richmond came out and performed.
It was interesting because his assistants were looking worried.
Who
looked the most worried?
Tonight.
So Friday night football at Etihad Stadium. Can the Tigers end the Wallace reign with a victory? Coming off a win in Perth last week. A game of lost opportunities, that one for both clubs. There's Terry. 7 finals as a coach, all with the Western Bulldogs, all against interstate clubs. Umpires tonight, Razor Ray Chamberlain, Meredith and McInerney. And away we go. One down by Patterson. Jackson at close quarters to Foley, slapped away. Tambling, ran into Hahn. Over the football is Ward, and the umpire will ball it up. So we're underway.
Thanks, Richie.
Pretty good crowd too at Etihad. Last time he played on this ground, he was outstanding. Jason Ackermanis, game number 300. Not so good last week. Off the ball, Daniel Cross.
Pushed him out of the contest.
Against Mark Coughlin. So Cross wasting no time, just drives it out wide. That's a beautiful kick. Almost hit Gilby on the chest, an involuntary action. Pettifer fed it back. Foley to Newman across the ground. Patterson.
Sweeps the handball to McMahon. So McMahon, little one in board. Some pressure on Pettifer, but he did well to Tambling. And then Tambling to Cochin.
Straight to him.
Even there, you can see the class of a player to try and take it out in his hands. It would have been so easy to allow that to come into his chest and perhaps might not have been able to draw that free kick.
Jackson left it for Newman. Awkward handball to Foley, but he sidestepped and then didn't really get the kick. And it'll be a behind. So the Tigers get the opening score here. Cool night in Melbourne, but really perfect conditions. Just come back from the ground with Bucks. And a good atmosphere with the crowd building. As we've all said, it's an unusual night in so many ways, but how will it play out? Such an important game for the Doggies, who've pressed back into that top 4. Won their first 3, lost their next 3. In good form of late with just that screaming defeat here against Geelong. So Cooney taking a big chance here. Morris, who was brilliant last week on O'Loughlin. There's Hargrave, lovely kick.
Chance for Griffin, then storming through midfield, gave it to Johnson. Well, tried to give it to Johnson, it didn't come out. Kick is taken by Bowden, just chipping it across the ground. Stack involved moments ago, getting his first touch. Newman finds McMahon. McMahon chips out wide, untidy. Cochin, good to see him back. Quality youngster. He's going to be a star. Look at that. Beautiful kick, demanding something of Collins. Laid off Coughlin. McMahon around the corner. It bounces between three groups of players, and Lake wanted it most, at least initially. Coughlin in the opposite direction. Down goes Morton. Strong tackle by Higgins, holding the ball.
Leave up, please. No.
Gee, the Tigers have put Calvin Moore into their forward group. I guess that's a reaction to the fact that the Bulldogs don't have much height in their forward line, so they're going to give Moore, who's been pretty good around the keep at defensive positions, a chance up forward.
Cooney short to cross. Harbrow involved as well. Harbrow, who came in for Williams last week in Canberra and was outstanding. There's Tiller's kick to centre wing. Here's Hill. Look away, handball. It might come off here because Hahn read it pretty well, and then on the up, driven into the ground. Boyd, neat looking kick, too far for Acker. Newman, he's had a couple of touches early, so the captain playing for his coach for the last time. Here's Moore, who started forward on Lake, and that's a good kick. Jackson, well, he can kick a goal, and he hasn't.
Real good run there from Jackson, though, to be able to push from the middle of the field. Newman started it with that mark from the kick inside 50, and then the quick play on. It meant that he had teammates free down the wing. Unfortunately, Jackson not able to finish off Richmond's good ball movement.
Tiller in short to Cooney, who can take it and go. Cooney drives it towards the outer side, coming across on the angle. Boyd, clean bowled, ricochets off Rance, goes forward. Coughlin, a hand pass across to support the high ball from Pettifer, goes to the pocket. Tiller gets back, takes the mark, just drops it outside the defensive 50. Hargrave in game number 150. Now Harbrow along the boundary line, out his side. Hahn can't control it, ricochets off him and goes out of bounds.
That last kick inside 50 was a very poor choice. It's a panic kick in today's football. Generally the team has numbers behind the ball, and you just can't afford to bomb it long without kicking it to a teammate's advantage.
Hudson to Boyd, and then Tambling did well, kept his head over, but Boyd in hard.
Right footy. Well battled.
So Tambling, he was
Got some room out the back, please, gents.
taken at number 4 in the draft, where Delidio was taken 1, and Griffin was at 3 in that same draft. All those 3 players out there tonight. Held up Cochin.
Right footy.
Looks like Jackson is trying to take Cooney. Be interesting. I think Jackson will be good on Cooney in close, and if Cooney can get out into space, I think he might just have a bit too much speed. So I'm interested to see how he tries to play that duel.
Delidio was the third man up, and then Cochin went to ground and then spilled away from Cooney. Griffin bursting through.
First high. First one high. Play on.
Heard the call, so Foley gets it from Bowden.
Through the centre square. Well, that was a nothing hand pass. Harbrow between 2 Tigers wins the footy, comes across the ground. Now a chance for Higgins. Backs out of trouble brilliantly. Controlled it. The hand pass bounces obligingly for Cross. Harbrow towards the outer side wing, and Boyd moving for him is Cooney. Back towards the middle, Gilby. He has the bounce, goes very short, not 15 the call. Hudson sets it up towards full forward. Now an opportunity for Stack, or rather Hill at the back. Down he went. Hand pass came across from Rance. Thursfield gave it back. Bowden tambling under pressure. Cousins hacks his way through, well played. Collins, Thursfield, tambling, and eventually they create some time and space. Jackson will get on the end of the kick.
Well, they did well in the end, reasonably composed, but not that time. So Boyd again getting involved and finds a target this time. And that's been the problem early in this match, finding targets.
Well, they tried to move the ball quickly at all costs, the Tigers. We saw Joel Bowden get the free kick and give a quick handball off to Nathan Foley. We saw Chris Newman take a mark and get it on quickly. And on this occasion, that actually brought them undone. Daniel Jackson trying to move the ball before the Bulldogs were set, but with the turnover gives this goal-scoring opportunity the other way.
Well, until that shot, he hadn't missed.
You've got to do that. Patterson should have taken that mark. I mean, basically, you've got to try and bring the ball back inside when you got the half opportunity. I think that was fair enough. He's got the height, but he just wasn't able to take the grab.
So Hahn was 6 straight from set shots going into that one.
There's Polo on the defensive 50 over the top. Jackson improving with every game, runs the wing, kicks beyond it now down towards half forward. Delidio, almost a clever mark. Coughlin left without the footy. Well done, Peckin. Hargrave gave it to Ward, the short one to Hahn. 75 metres out. Hahn for space. Hill, can he get on the end of this one? Loose ball at the back. Will it stay in for the young dog? No. Just out of bounds. He controlled it pretty well. Bowden went to ground, and for a moment he thought he was in.
Picken on Deledio. He's not going to get any easy touches tonight. Liam Picken has had some great roles and done them well for the Bulldogs already this year.
Well done, Patterson. Stifled the hand pass from Minson.
Let him up. High tackle. Be careful on against you. Right on it, Jason. Stay clear. Play on.
So Tambling. Jackson again. There were two of their very good players in the win over Fremantle last week. And Patterson running hard here. So Hudson's come to the interchange. Well, Deledio quick enough to get around Hahn and then straighten the body, and the kick to Moore's a good one, and so's the mark.
Mark! Wait, Dale, wait!
So the Tigers a chance to go back inside the 50. Foley. Collins. Mark. Switch up. Newman on the right side for him. Too tall for Simmons in the end. That's a poor kick. And now Lake.
Sends it short of the wing, and Johnson. And Johnson's away, draws a man. Not the best hand pass. Eagleton had to go back on his left side. He was running out of space. Tambling, tied up by Johnson. Taken down. Tim?
Rocket Eats spoke before the game about the special attention for Ben Cousins when he comes on the ground. Daniel Cross has been the man assigned to pick up Ben Cousins. Cousins just took him on a long searching run. He started in the back pocket, he ended up in the forward pocket. Unfortunately, or fortunately for Cross, he didn't get the ball.
Newman at very close quarters to Jackson, who's ushered across the boundary line.
I reckon if there's anyone that's going to run with Ben Cousins, it's Daniel Cross. That bloke has the biggest tank in the AFL and a ticket a match.
There is Cross doing the ruck work with Simmons. Hargrave, neat handball. Eagleton squeezes a right footer out, and then Polo and Ward together. Still the ball to be got out. Polo heard the call. Pettifer didn't go far. Collins to Pettifer. They're working in tight quarters, and Pettifer blows it in the end by kicking it out on the full.
Well, I haven't got ineffective stats in front of me, but if we haven't had about 20 already in this first 10 minutes, neither side has been able to just link the ball through the middle of the ground. They just keep turning it over.
And here's another one, Lee, right on cue. The Cochin can't quite get around Ackermanis. Hahn. That's better Gilby. Hargrave, Eagleton, run down, terrific tackle. And now Foley and McMahon, who played in Terry Wallace's last game as a dog and plays in his last game as a Tiger. So he's all on his own tonight. Gives it to Collins.
Collins the hand pass, Cousins the run, long chilling kick, Morton at the back.
That was a good example. Richmond had a 3-on-1.
Morton comes in and pops it through. He's had his moments recently.
He ended up with the ball. That's the one they're going to have to cut out.
So Morton gets the opening goal. Chip Cochin was good there. To Bowden, to McMahon, to Foley, to McMahon. Back in the team tonight. Back to McGuan. The kick's a good one in the end to Tuck. And Collins, who Bucks talked about pre-match, he's running too far. Got disoriented.
Mark's here.
He's actually quite a tall unit. I think he's nearly 6'2". He's going to fill out. He'll be an impressive stature of a footballer when he does do that. And his skills are good.
It's a good kick by Gilby.
Cross built it. Obviously running hard to try and put the pressure back on Cousins. Tambling meantime. Stat got him down. It was a good grab. Out of there by Newman. Sweeping hand pass comes across half back. Opportunity now for Simmons. Feeds it back to McGuan. McGuan over the top. Bowden under pressure. Back to McGuan. It was Thursfield who dug it out initially, and I suppose it's gone 25 metres from him after all of that. Short one, Harbrow, Cooney sets it up, Johnson creating some space, Bowden goes back, Thursfield over the top, Hill left standing, open goal beckons, and he pops it through.
So Tigers by point. Dogs had that remarkable surge last week after they kicked their first goal against the Swans in Canberra. They kicked the next 12. They kicked 13 unanswered. So Cochin out of the centre. Revo couldn't quite, but second effort reasonable, but then he fell over and you can't do that. Tiller to Ward and kicked 3 goals in that win last week. Eagleton very good on Tambling. Worked him underneath, but then the ball eluded him and out of play.
Just isn't me, but we've played about 15. I've seen no venom out there yet. This seems like just a really nice, friendly night at the footy. Be interested to see whether that turns before too long.
Well, Acker said the two teams didn't like each other, but they're playing very friendly at the moment.
Bit of nice football.
Nice football, yes.
Nothing unsociable at the moment. Nothing unsociable, Lee.
No, it's maybe just the atmosphere, that general atmosphere that you sometimes sense.
Tambling's little give. And then Tuck's kick out of the fence.
Like when the teams walk to their positions pre-game, they just walk to their positions. There's usually at least 1 or 2 players bump into each other. Just you tend to try and set the scene. But I thought both sides just started to play nice.
Delidio is up high. Boyd, Cooney running away from his own goal, goes back to Boyd, looping hand pass taken by Ward, finds a way through, kicks down towards half forward, well read by Bowden, ghosting across in front of the lead, took the mark to Coughlin, to Tambling at centre half back, well slipping over Patterson, and as a result all the time in the world for Lake. Goes to half forward Eagleton again. That ball perhaps needed to be to his right so he could wheel around in one movement onto the left. It held him up the kick.
So Patterson didn't react to Tamling's really a 40-metre kick. Patterson wanted him to kick at 60.
Eagleton steps to the 50, working it back. That's a beautiful effort. It'll hit the post. They lead the league in posters, these Dogs. Not to say Dogs love posts.
It's a powerful leg, hasn't he, Eagleton? That hit halfway up and looked like it was gathering height on the way through.
Right on. Josh Amida.
So Coughlin, short one to Tuck. He's played every one of the 99 matches that Terry Wallace has coached. Tuck hasn't missed one. Tucks are a bit like that. They play a lot of footy, don't they? Good Mark Jackson coming off. The interchange inboard. Cousins' handball okay. Then Pettifer, they've had to go back though to Jackson. This is the important kick. Can he find a target? Oh, he was good there, Delidio, because he was going the wrong way. But then he messed it up and put a high tackle on. No free kick. Beautiful hands by Higgins. And then Griffin to Hill to Johnson. Not much up ahead, so he's going to have to retreat. Goes back to Lake. And then Lake short to Ward at centre wing. Now Johnson.
Johnson, little chip pass, not 15 surely. Ooh. Hahn paid the mark, untidy, having to reach for it. Griffin got it okay. Telling kick inside the forward 50. Gian Siracusa kept his eye on the ball. That was ambitious. He went at it from long range. Downwind stack. Falling to the ground, Bowden played it pretty well. Foley draws a man, goes over the top to Cochin. Timed it brilliantly. Thursfield fed it forward. This is Pettifer. Foley met solidly, but dispatched it beautifully to Jackson, and now Cochin. Cochin going down towards right half forward on the lead. Morton. Good footy by the Tigers.
Good clean disposal inside 50. You can see Cochin at full stretch, running flat out. Still the ability to maintain his composure and make that decision on the fly. Actually called Mitch Morton back towards him and then just put it out in front of him. It was a lovely kick.
It's knowing when your teammate's got that time and space, isn't it, upfield to actually get on the second lead, which is what he was going back, then he came forward.
2 goals last week, 7 in the last 3 weeks. Mitch Morton, 40 metres out, kicks accurately. He's got his second.
Able to transfer the ball into their forward line.
So Tigers by a goal. Morton's got both of them.
Right footy.
And as Tim said, it was
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben.
the run of the midfield that's created the goals. Cochin and before that Cousins. So Patterson just getting over the top of Hudson. Gee, Ward was good there. Got his head down low. First touch for Acker, not a bad one. Hahn just couldn't quite carry it forward, and it'll run out of play.
See the arms now.
So Kieran there, Terry's wife. I know that his mum and dad and 2 sons and daughter are here as well tonight. Big night for the family. Higgins and Jackson running it over.
Real sense of deja vu about tonight, because I remember I was here for Danny Frawley's last night. Very similar. Richmond have a way. Tossed in just inside the 50. Minson down to Hargrave. Things open up for Higgins. Wonderful copybook.
No, this is low. With dual-core 250 gig drive, Mr. Home Premium $9.49. Keyboard and optical mouse $28. 50 DVDs $15. 1 terabyte external drive $1.99. 2 gig flash drive $12. When we say low, we mean low prices at A&...
Well, Brett Delidio's had the tag tonight of Liam Picken. He's done a really good job. Just one touch to Delidio. They decided to see if they could expose Picken as a full back, but he wasn't buying into that. He's actually now shifted himself into the midfield as Delidio's gone to full forward for the Tigers.
Clever goal by Higgins. Beautifully set up and a good finish. So Morton in there, and now Hudson and Johnson. Kicks okay. Out wide. John Siracusa, who had a real breakout game again last week. And now Ward runs in, and the Dogs are in front.
Oi, manners. That's better.
You'll love every little bit of KFC's irresistible favourites bowls. Tasty popcorn chicken on a bit of crunchy Doritos corn chips with tangy guacamole and nacho cheese sauce.
Can't beat it, can't beat it.
From KFC's new favourites bowls range.
So the margin is 6 points. Another of the contacts that this man made at Footscray and became a Tiger. Talking about deja vu, coaching a cruel business, Terry. It's almost a case of forgotten, but not gone.
Didn't go at the footy. Advantage. Go, Alex.
Advantage is paid. Rance is away. Bouncing it down towards half forward. Moore goes back. Little jab forward. Down inside the 50 from Foley. Held up down there by Picken.
Yes, buddy.
Lake to Gilby. Gilby at half back, kicks beyond the wing. Polo is going back with a flight of it. Well, he stifled the bounce very well. And now Collins, close to the boundary line, went wide. Pettifer.
He uses it pretty well, Collins. Just his 8th match. He's been a real bonus for the Tigers this year. You know, obviously a miserable year so far, but some signs. Pettifer getting a bat from Jackson. The target was Moore. Good pressure put on.
It's interesting that point that Tim mentioned about the Picken-Delidio matchup. I think Picken will be fine around the ground, but if Delidio goes and plays as that medium full forward, which he can do very well, quite obviously Picken will be a bit outmatched in that positioning.
So Cousins in quickly to that ruck contest, and then Picken brought him down. Delidio's little handball, Foley. Jackson squeezes it out. Lake did very well, actually. Johnson couldn't quite take it clean in, and it looked a bit high. Now they're fishing for it, the Dogs. Good pressure, Delidio, brilliant. He was able to cut it off. Patterson did okay, got down low. McMahon, Pettifer, big and high. It's not going to be a goal, though. Bouncing ball. And again, that time Rewald over the top, and a boundary throw-in.
Very casual kick by Pettifer. Had some time, had some space. Over the top, Hudson. Clattering into the pack. Delidio, a strong tackle too. Tuck at close quarters. Morton, can he boot his 3rd? You bet. This is ironic in its way.
Coach the team for the rest of the year. One of the 4 assistants, not including Brian Royal, is the understanding. Higgins, good opening term. And then Stack, who plays his first game tonight. He's been at the club for 3 seasons, did well. Back to Higgins. Back to Gian Siracusa. Not a great kick, but it was accurate. It was a floater, and Acker was onto it.
Well, so much of the modern game is about the ability to kick off half a step or just one step without time and space around you. Not just with a handball, but at this occasion, Acker was able to move off Newman. It's actually the 3rd or 4th time he's got off him, but the first time he's been used. But Gian Siracusa here just put it to his advantage side.
Well, he's a beautiful kick, isn't he? We know that, and he's just given us further evidence.
Haven't broken the chain, so it's an area that Richmond are going to have to lock down on to try and control the doggies.
That last Ackermanis goal, the difference. Dogs by 6 points. Hudson working overtime in there, and Coughlin going in hard. Just over 2 minutes till quarter time on Friday Night Football.
Talking about the big key position players. The forwards deep are Eagleton and Ackermanis for the Bulldogs. No hide in there.
Last of it going on off the ball. Quick thinking there by Gian Siracusa. Got boots of ball, sends it high, going back with a flight of it.
Courage.
It was. Particularly when you think back to that game against Brisbane just a few weeks ago. Got it across to McGuan, or was it Polo? Polo drives to the outer side. The mark is taken out there by Bowden. Bowden a little chip towards half forward, spilt by Delidio. Taken by Cousins, 60 metres out, pulls it back to full forward. Where's Morton? Well, another blob working in the pack. Morton cruised through, Revolt with the concentration.
I think Morton might have been the one who moved the pack. Revolt just stood there, held his ground.
It was a good kick, but it was a great mark. He was directly under the ball the whole time, but he didn't lose his nerve, didn't overexert his body, and just waited for the ball into his hands.
McGuan did the pack moving. Morton lurking behind. Revolt took the mark and finishes it off. Scores a level.
Something to be excited about for the Tigers fans. I mean, Cochin's been encouraging. I think Collins has been pretty good, and this guy has run long and hard. He's had 4 touches. Both of his kicks have resulted in goals to teammates. But Rewalt, he's showed signs and glimpses over the last 18 months that it's coming, but if he could do it consistently, it'd be damaging.
He's been a bit of a barometer. He got 3 when they beat North Melbourne, Rewalt, and he got a couple last week. So he's got goals when they've won their matches. So good start here.
Tends to be what young key position players are like. They're inconsistent. They have good patches, bad patches.
Boyd out of the centre. So as Bucks told us, they've been getting goals from clearances of late. The Dogs. See what happens here. Thursfield's got to hold his feet, and he did well. It's a good result in the end.
We've seen Richmond do this a few times this season. They've really started well, but they haven't been able to maintain the rage or the focus on that run and carry that they've displayed so well in this first quarter.
Minson won the tap. Jackson, another disposal. Tiller was sitting and waiting for it. Now can he dispose of it well? Well, he's kicked it high to a hot spot. Polo at the back. Delidio kept his head to Tambling. McGuan was running backwards, so he had no momentum going. And now Morton's got to be quick. He's okay. And that's a clever kick in the end by Bowden, I should say, who found McGuan.
Down to 34 seconds. McGuan just lobs it over the top again, taken by Tuck. He's about 75 metres from home. Delidio offers, not happy he didn't get it. Tuck sends the ball longer. Pettifer kept out of the contest, but lurking at the back did okay. An involuntary action. Down goes Morton. Ball still live a couple of metres in from the boundary. In fact, it was Coughlin, a half chance on the footy. And we'll have a ball up with the clock frozen at 10 seconds. So only one side can score from here. Revolt went at it and was worked off the lane of the football. Hargrave clears the zone. Stack a fumble. We're down to 3 seconds. Wait for the siren. I think it'll beat him. Yes, it does. Bowden finishes up with the footy. And at quarter time, we finish up with a tied ball game. Friday night football, it's 4-2 apiece. Of the football so far, scores are level. 3 quarters and counting. Started the second term on Friday night football. 4-2 apiece. Good bounce too. Hudson didn't leave the ground. Goes after it. He's on the ground now, trying to feed it out. Coughlin goes over the top. And that ball is locked up. Umpire will do it again. Usually it's very hard to find affection at 7:30 on a Friday night. Too early, but I tell you what, this game has been a pretty friendly affair. Kearney out of the middle. Not much bite so far, not much sizzle. Johnson takes his snap and misses. The man who doesn't own a sneer sends it way left and almost sneered.
Wait for me. Wait,
Jason. The last time we were on a Friday night, I think he got close, don't you, Dan?
He did too. Right at the end.
Tambling with some run. Kick to centre wing.
Good hands.
Moore, yeah, were good hands. And then Tuck had to put the brakes on, and then Moore had no vision there, and Hill was able to take it off him. And Eagleton got a slow bounce. He got a bad bounce in the end. Still able to get his hands on the ball. Then Tuck retrieving it. Thursfield. Rance, Collins, the build-up, back to Rance. It's terrific to see him back tonight. And then well done, Coughlin in the end. And then Tuck getting his way through, still not quite clear. And then Simmons, well, they made heavy rev, and then Simmons' kick is not good. And Ward was able to get back and take a pretty easy mark. So doing it at both ends, Ward. Well, he hasn't been able to get it out. And can Cochin make him pay? Not quite. Oh. Drop mark. Another chance here. Rewald's going to kick his second. Well, they made a mess of it in the end.
Does that tell us anything? Go back a week or two.
Someone will read something, you know.
I just did. Cross. Griffin. I was only kidding. Cooney over the shoulder. Jackson ghosts away with the footy inside this centre square. Telling kick going back. Wonderful courage shown down there. Morris couldn't complete the mark though. Morton tries to get it out. Slapped away by Tiller. Close to the boundary line. Still a live footy. No, it's out of bounds. And those boundary umpires right there either side of the footy. Thrown in. Down behind, a chance for Revolt, just lays it off to Tambling. His kick is wayward towards the opposite pocket, and Moore was punched away from him, then tapped on by Boyd, going to ground. Harbrow picked up by Collins. He's a good-looking young footballer. Collins gives it across to Foley. Yet another possession. Centering kick. Coming hard was Gilby. Falls in front. McGuan's got it. Did he have the football? Umpire will ball it up.
Ball was there. Ball still in the tackle.
Jack Revolt with a real taste for it now. A couple of goals, and the run-down tackle inside 50 is good play.
I feel like the Tigers have got a bit of a taste too. They've kicked the last couple. Pettifer, who loves nothing better than kicking a goal. Well, pushing it forward.
Yeah, each week it's the same jumper, same personnel, but this isn't the Bulldogs team that kicked 13 straight last week against the Swans. At the moment, the Richmond are playing with a bit. That's a nervous yawn, I think.
Got a kick, mate. Yours.
Hargrave kicks to centre wing.
Oh, advantage! Advantage!
Got me going too. I don't know how many people have got it at home.
Contagious, those yawns.
We'll be in trouble for showing him yawning.
Johnson running onto it. Got a good bounce, Jono. Can he finish it off? No.
That's what you call a great director, don't you? Cecil B. the O'Keefe. He knows when a guy's going to yawn. Uncanny. Here's Cross. 55 metres out.
Wait. Play on.
Goes across the ground. That's a beautiful kick. Under the chest of Higgins. Don't know it needed that. Cooney bounces one to Boyd. Steps inside the 50. Goes goalward. They knew what they were doing. Lovely build-up.
more.
He's a more rounded player. He wins. We know he wins it in close, but he's starting to become a possession accumulator and a finisher.
Higgins' hands just not able to find Cooney. Then John Siracusa, who did very well to put him in the path of Hill. Again, a poor bounce. Well done, Collins. To Polo. Back to Rance, or Coughlin, I should say, was smothered off the boot. And then cross. Coughlin tried to put the tackle on. Hargrave got it from Higgins. And then Hargrave attacks the goal. Jono's in a good spot. Well done at the back by Thursfield.
That was really well done by Thursfield. You see, he was probably out of position 2 or 3 times there. It was a really good kick, but the ability not to give the free kick there, away there, and yet still get his fist to the ball to affect that spoil was fantastic play.
It's the extra height, isn't he? He's a key position player, and Johnson obviously more medium sizer. Extra height was enormous benefit.
Here's Cochin. Spots a man out wide. Delidio, very much the future of the club right there. Foley running away from half back. Stops short of the wing. Jackson has to wait. Played it pretty well. Jackson, the kick, not good. Tuck went to ground, didn't need to. Harbrow lost it. Good luck was a fortune. John Siracusa gave it to Cooney, to Johnson. Johnson's away. Will he go for Hahn? He's trying to. Hahn's got it. Open goal beckons, and he's got it. They stretch their lead. Not the best kick in the world to him.
Just fumbled that or dropped it, but he was able to take it cleanly, get it to a teammate, and a goal is eventuated.
It's Foley in close. Well done, Picken. So six different goal scorers for the Dogs so far. 2 for the Tigers tonight. Rewalt and Morton. Dogs sharing it around. Eagleton tried to toe poke it, and then Patterson's backup was good, and then Pettifer basically gave it to Cousins, and then back to Pettifer, and Pettifer's wide kick's okay. Foley has to squeeze it down the line. Tuck got a rather awkward bounce. He's got to keep his cool here. Went to ground, but he was under enormous pressure. Well done, Foley, to Coughlin. Coughlin trying to draw somebody, and then Tuck couldn't quite take possession. Ward, bit of basketball, volleyball. Moore did well to squeeze the kick to centre half forward. Patterson held his ground. Gee, Simmons and Patterson, this will be interesting. Simmons has found McMahon, who can stroll in and kick the goal. They got there.
Hard tag run with a fresh player. Cousins out there on the ground.
Dogs by 2 points. Now an opportunity as they come forward through stack the Dogs towards left half forward. Johnson running out of space, ball out of bounds. Interesting. If you think back, Richmond kicked the opening 2 behinds of the game. Since then they've been very accurate. Thrown in outside the 50. Patterson directing it down, but to a dangerous place. Ackermanis grabs the footy, floats one towards full forward. Johnson bounces off his chest. Now a chance for Hargrave, still inside the 50. Uses Johnson as a decoy. They stayed off him. He split the indifference and went through the middle.
Once again, Brad Johnson's effort to get to be the 3rd man to that marking contest. He wasn't able to take the mark, but he created the spill. He's worked very hard in this forward 50, and his follow-up there to create a handball option actually created a bit of doubt in the Richmond defender's mind, which Hargraves took advantage of.
It's very high in the goal assist, Jono, this year. Not sure if that's going to count, but he's... First goal for the season for Ryan Hargrave, and he's 150th. And his old teammate Jordan McMahon. So 7-6 here, free scoring game, end-to-end stuff. Not the prettiest footy you've ever seen.
Recall, clear the square.
I think we saw the Bulldogs kick that goal from that boundary throw in the first quarter. That one, that Richmond tap over the back that Den noticed in the call, that was really set up the open forward line the Bulldogs ended up scoring from.
Boyd was terrific with his hands to cross, and then Harbrow with some run to stack, then uses Harbrow again. And Harbrow's going to take Collins on, arched his back, low kick to half forward. Diving there was Minson. Well done by Newman. Couldn't quite get it clear. Coughlin, well, he held up in the tackle, but he's able to, he coughed it up to Hahn, to Hill, to Eagleton. Eagleton looking everywhere. He's got Jan Syracuse, a good mark.
Oh. It was a good call, Bruce, because he did not even look at the goals, Nathan Eagleton, which is not what we've come to expect. I would have actually thought that he was a 9 out of 10 chance of having a shot there. No, I probably wouldn't have minded him. I probably wouldn't have minded him as a teammate because he's a good kick. He was on his left. It wasn't that acute an angle, but it was good team play.
Let's see if Gian, after being mugged, can kick the goal. He's got it. He's in good form at the moment. There's Daniel, and the Dogs slip away.
Back in the middle. This side up suddenly by 14 points. Hudson stolen away though by Cousins. Floating kick down towards half forward. In front, Revolt came back to him twice as quickly. Tiller across to Boyd. Hudson does well in this situation. Well, almost now he's in trouble holding the ball. Didn't follow his first instinct. Cousins with the free kick. Cousins goes across the ground. Waiting for it was Patterson, who was fisted away by Jan Syracuse. Taken now by Jackson. Cousins again getting busy. Rance too solid with a hand pass. Coughlin couldn't control it. Out of defence. Cooney kicks it wide. Now Johnson just 2 men inside the forward 50. It'll be a race back for the football now. Too nimble down there is Bowden. Minson took him down. Reaches over the top. Johnson, a master with his feet. What can he conjure here? Well, he threw it to Minson. It was an out of bounds. Simultaneous whistles.
I saw the class leader, not that one, the next one, when he held on to the ball and then released the handball.
Well, he's had an impact in the game the last couple of minutes. It just looks to me like he's starting to get a feel of what football is like in 2009. He's actually had more impact in this little patch than I've seen him have in any game in his limited time so far this year.
Jono not too happy behind the play, having a stern word to Razor Ray. Wishing he was disposable.
Is his fourth game, Cousins, or fifth? Fifth game. Yeah, so he certainly hasn't had a lot of footy, but he's actually certainly been looking like the West Coast Eagles Cousins that we came today tonight.
High touches in the nab, and in that first game he still picked it. Before he got injured, he still picked up high touches, but they weren't as effective as they are at the moment.
Patterson, a few touches there. Coughlin, Collins loops it over the top. Cousins controls it well. Wonderful carriage, wonderful concentration to Coughlin. Floats one towards the 50.
Moore stood his ground. Hargrave was good. McMahon, can he find somebody? No, it was blocked by Gilby. Simmons brought down by Picken, and then Hargrave, hot footy for a moment. Lake to Cooney, switches it to Tiller, and then Tiller goes back and finds Gilby, who's normally a brilliant kick. Here's Acker. Acker goes to the hot spot. Minson front spot, good hands. He was good in Canberra last week, Big Will. Decides to quickly go on. Johnson and Higgins a right spot. Maybe he hasn't hurt himself here. Grabbed hold of that knee. He's had a lot of groin problems in the last few weeks.
And generally that's what happens when you're carrying something. It makes you inefficient. You run differently, you land differently, and it compounds on itself. And when he gets a run, 100% run at a season, as he jars that right knee on landing, when he gets a full run at a season, I think we're going to be in for a treat, because he's shown some special signs early in his career.
He's going to be a champion.
You think well, he's got the capability of it.
He's a real talent. So he's got 2 goals. And the Dogs stretch it now.
Be hearing a pop or something like that, so I think you're right, Dan. It's not a good sign, but we'll see how it pans out.
I like the trainer who got out to him first. 2 thumbs up within 30 seconds. Premature evaluation, I think, as the ball comes inside the forward 50, and the mark is taken by Gilby. And he's headed off to the rooms. We wish him well. Meantime, his teammates, and of course he got the last goal, but his teammates are putting on something of a clinic in the last few minutes.
He's right on it.
They're up by 20, this to stretch it to 26. Lindsay Gilbey. Distance will not be a problem. Going at the Dogs' 10th goal. And that is a beautiful kick. That is copybook from the top shelf.
I think we've commented a few times tonight. It's a little bit of an unpressured game if keeping's off, and just all of a sudden the Bulldogs are playing it much better. Cotchin had the time and space, but once he turned the ball over, well, the Bulldogs, they do run forward pretty quick off those contests. There's usually a Bulldogs player in space forward of the congestion if the Bulldogs can turn the ball over.
(11-4) inside 50s in this term, 6-2 to 2 straight. So it's one-way traffic for the moment. Hudson and Simmons hard at it, and then Cooney again, good hands, and so was Picken. Got it to Ward. Ward could see the goals coming up and said, that'll do. Oh, and he hit the post with a bounce. I like that. Ward attacking the goal like that. Here's Cooney. Good tackle by McGuire. So Higgins back on the bench.
Again, Ben and Troy jump the football.
20 posters now for the Dogs this season. After the boundary throw-in, Boyd finds a way through, sets it up down towards full forward, going back with courage. The mark will be paid. Hurstfield, I think it is. Showed some courage there. Deledio gone right out of the game to Simmons. Deledio just 6 possessions. A few early touches, but rarely sighted since. Hurstfield again feeds it forward. Foley goes out wide. Bowden. Now running back on the angle is Polo, but he didn't move with a lot of conviction. Pettifer's got it now, running up towards the wing, kicks towards half forward, honours the lead from Moore, hands to it, didn't complete the mark, should have marked it, dragged down by Eagleton. Morris over the football, the idea was right. The ball was slapped into Moore. Hargrave went to ground. Well done, Morton. Gave it to Tuck. Tuck lines up from 45. A terrific goal. Wonderful stuff.
Terrific effort by Morton a moment ago, and a good finish by Tuck.
Higgins has been finished 2 or 3 times already this year.
Lazarus, well, Hill held up. She made a difference last year, Higgins, when he came back into the finals, didn't he? Underdone. Here's Jackson. Can the Tigers get a little spirit on before half-time and close it a bit? Pettifer into the centre, and then Rance's handball. Bowden, normally a good user. He's gone wide. Gee, that was a good effort by Morris, All-Australian defender last year. Being tested in the first half. Morton's kicked 3 in the opening half. Rewalt's got a couple. And Richmond suddenly pressing again, as they did for much of the first quarter and a bit. Morton went to ground. Morris over the back. Ball came out. Cooney, clever to cross. And then Stack got it onto Lake. And there's Higgins.
To Hahn. Little chip. Ackermanis on the lead. Hahn is storming past. Acker just lays it down in front of him. Hahn in 2 minds, a little skip. This is not bad. Let's test the leg. It's okay. He passes the fitness test with flying colours.
He just keeps getting the ball.
Nice play around, wasn't it?
What odds was Higgins to kick a goal 5 minutes ago, do you reckon, for the rest of this match?
Well, I mean, they're really good to get it into space, and then Hahn just hung onto the footy, allowed Higgins to get into that little bit of forward space. Pettifer was a reluctant chaser, I think you might say.
It's that just little pause by Hahn forced Pettifer to commit to him as a defender and actually gave Higgins a few more metres.
Had 9 goal scorers tonight, the Dogs. Higgins has kicked 3 and 8 others have kicked 1. And they stretch the lead to 4.5 goals again. They've been kicking big numbers over the last month, the Dogs, after having a flat patch.
Get out of the ruck! Holding the ball! Troy Simmons! Troy Simmons, back. That's it. Brett!
So Delidio may get it because Simmons will look to give the handball off.
Stay clear! Stay clear! He's not on! Stay clear around the back! Move it on! Play on!
So he's forced to kick. Goes in short.
That's it, they're back 1 metre
Jackson's
now.
been busy enough. And goes to the pocket. Morton a target on. Patterson. Gee, that was a good leap. Timed it beautifully. Third man up in the end.
Thank you, Adam.
It's what you want the big ruckman to do when he goes forward. He's played 4 of the last 6 matches, including the last couple. He's had trouble cementing his place in the team. Good kick. Well, Tuck and Patterson, unlikely sources, but they've got the last 2.
Try and pull Delidio completely out of the play. Wallace wants Delidio's run off half-back to try and create something.
Patterson's first goal of the season. Here's Foley coming away from the centre. Nice tap from Simmons. Kick comes down towards the 50, sliding in Tuck yet again. They're finding something late in the term. And generally, goals in time on have really hurt the Tigers this season. Down towards full forward. They've got the extra man. 2 Dogs on the ground. Coming through. Jackson. Collins. How about this?
From Collins. So they've kicked 9 straight here. They were 0-2 Richmond, and now they're 9 goals too. Cousins. So this is a lovely little patch for them. Bowden sweeps it. Jackson tucks it under the arm and then gets to 70 metres and unloads with a magnificent long kick. Reward almost. Still in play. Dogs are going to be careful here. Griffin was over the top. It's a boundary throw-in.
They're right.
Gee, Jackson. It was a long bomb, wasn't it?
Can kick the ball a long way, Jackson.
I agree. Patterson. Morton searching for it. Well done to Coughlin, and then Coughlin hooks back. More. Patterson off the ground. The big ruckman kicks his second. They're roaring.
And what about that in the goal square? Moore with what appeared to be the diamond cutter, made famous by Diamond Dallas Page. Out of the middle. Long kick from Jackson. This is really something coming from the Tigers at the moment. Live ball out of bounds in front of Morton. Wants a free kick, nothing doing. So a boundary throw-in. We're down to less than 4 minutes remaining in the half.
And they've just started to drive the ball into their forward 50. Not trying to mess around too much. Let's just get it in quick.
Jackson has 19 possession. Sorry, Lee. And in the last few minutes, the Dogs have not had a disposal. I think this is the 17th on the trot.
Blocked him from running for the ball. You weren't looking at the ball and you've blocked him. Stuck it. That's okay. Keep it clear. Much right here.
We're in that matchup.
It's good umpiring, isn't it? A lot of bodies in there. It's to actually see one where a player's been blocked from access to the contest.
Well, in fairness, this man started the run. Tuck comes in and gets another goal.
We've known that Tigers work on the boundary line, and then he went back out there and then he put it into practice. It was terrific leadership shown by him.
So Cross gets the ball out, so at least they got their hands on it, the Dogs, but Thursfield, gee, the Tigers might be in front at half-time. I reckon they were long odds 5 minutes ago. Well done, Tuck. Jackson, well, just too slow that time. That was a terrific run down from Ward.
Thanks, Daniel!
Jackson's really been a key figure in this first half for the Tigers. Ward, well, that sums up the Bulldogs' last 5 minutes.
Half-time can't come soon enough.
It's unravelling, isn't it?
Yep.
Can Bowden use it? Ward courageously.
He keeps putting himself into it. He's had 2 really bad howler clangers in this quarter, but he's He'll always have a go, and he'll always go back with a fight and put his head over the ball. You don't mind that because you can work with that.
He's the only teenager out there for the Dogs tonight. And he's showing the way, isn't he? His hard brow, getting it from Morris. Kicking to John Siracusa. Now, Johnson going early. Good kick. It's been busy, Johnson. No goals, but it's been involved in a lot. It's got Eagleton running outside of him. He can't go all the way. So he decides to go to the pocket to set it up for Minson. Deledio, Hargrave. Just across the face. We've had some unusual goal kickers tonight. Hargrave got his first for the year. Patterson's got 2 after not having any in his other 4 matches. Tucker, multiple goal scorer.
Tambling. Lovely kick from McMahon. Slays it off. Newman pushing up the ground. McGuan, Cochin, very clever. Newman, who can kick it a long way, elects to hand pass to Foley. Foley just setting it up. What a beautiful kick. What a wonderful build-up. Back to forward. Revolt's taken the mark 30 metres out. If he kicks a goal, the Tigers, who trailed by 27 points just 8 minutes ago, will lead.
Real snapshot of what Richmond's best footballers look like tonight. They've just really been prepared to take risks off the half-back line and through the corridor, and Riewoldt the beneficiary on this occasion.
Riewoldt comes in, kicks. Well, we've seen everything. Those Tigers.
Well, this is actually doing it week in, week out.
Minson was terrific there. And then almost a great mark by Picken. So the Tigers with their noses in front. 8-goal quarter for Richmond for the 3rd time this year. They kicked 8 against Geelong early in the year. They kicked 8 last week against Freo in the 3rd quarter. And only the Bulldogs can boast 3 quarters this season of 8 goals or better. So the Tigers getting their fans excited here. Polo held up. Handball out. Minson bashed and crashed. Couldn't get it to Eagleton. Well done, Deledio. Terrific tackle coming in from Gilby. And then Eagleton on hands and knees. Now trapped.
Well, actually, Richmond actually rolled their forwards up behind the ball. Happy with this scoreboard going into half-time. Saw Riewoldt just lay the tackle on the half-back line.
What's up, Nathan Foley?
So Minson working hard to Cooney. And then Cooney just wanting some space there. Polo over Bennett, John Siracusa. Cross. Held up. Tigers hanging on.
Back, Daniel.
Must be weird for Terry Wallace, I reckon, sitting and watching this. It's a strange feeling. The heart would be pumping, but there'd be a little bit of a proviso every time, wouldn't there? Can't have this much fun on a Friday night, eh? Deledio, well done to Tambling. Can you believe it? The Tigers are going to be in front at half-time. They trailed by 27 points in that quarter. They kicked 8 straight, just as they did against the Dockers last week in the 3rd term.
The thing that Rodney Eade will be most disappointed with is that they've given them a sniff. I mean, the last thing you want with a team with their season in this position, with their coaching situation, is to actually give them a sniff, because they're up. Have a look at them now. They're going to go into half-time full of life, and they'll come out with some real verve and vigour, and the Bulldogs are going to have to meet that now.
I've got a feeling we're in for a big second half. Friday night, and it's 74-72. It's the Tigers over these boys, the Dogs.
Listen, we've talked about the high stats. Cousins only had 10 disposals, but he's been very penetrating.
So for Terry Wallace, 2002 quarters down, 2 to go. 3rd term at Etihad Stadium on a Friday night. Jackson has been very good. So too this man Foley. Digs it out of the middle, goes down low and hits Riewoldt on the Dick
1 metre,
Smith.
Stephen. 1 metre, Stephen.
He'll line up from about 40.
Let him run, let him break.
And they started where they finished off.
Oops. Showed a lot of the ball there to Morris, who knocks it away from Pettifer, and the ball runs out of bounds. That wasn't the option.
No, and you generally don't need to show much of the ball for Dale Morris to be an effective defender, but just that Jackson again getting involved. Quick hands to Foley, the quick play into the forward 50.
And both the ruckmen out there, Simmons playing forward as he often does, Minson shoving it forward. Cochin was very good, but he coughed it up to Higgins, who stood up extremely well on the tackle. Cooney, Foley, good take by Foley, then a good tackle by Cooney. Jackson again, so he's up to 21. Well done, back to Thursfield, and then Jackson along the line. They're running out of room, boundary throw in.
You just saw that slight fumble from Adam Cooney, and that's all you need to put yourself under pressure. He just is not quite got his rhythm and his timing.
Pivotal duel. Lee talked about it at half-time, just the effectiveness of both players. Cooney came back into the match in the second quarter. Minson, Ward's been very impressive. Back to Boyd, the smother, cross on the up.
Minson lays it off to Cooney in 2 minds. Now straight down the middle. Oh, terrific grab. The skipper. Newman, Deledio into the oncoming Hill. The Hill too tall as it turned out. Deledio keen to make amends. Thursfield's over the football. Johnson's over him. And the umpire calls for it.
Newman very unlucky not to get a 50 on that occasion. Took the mark, was going to go back off it, and was held up by a player who wasn't in the contest. I think it was Hill. That makes a big difference in a match like this.
Roundhouse right from Minson. Hahn tries to feed it out. Patterson heard a voice. Tamblings. Well, Tambling backed off. Griffin came on, but the ball's out of bounds. Griffin has been very disappointing in the first half. I think from memory, half a dozen possessions when I looked. The computer's blown up, Bruce, so you can't help me. Higgins after the football. Cooney. Well, a bit of a fumble from Boyd. Gilby lays a strong tackle. Good second effort. It spills out of Coughlin. Coughlin feeds it forward. Moore. Now on the overlap. McGuan pushing up through midfield. Plenty of runners around him. Cochin. That's clever. Went much wider. Opening things up. Polo. Oh, terrible kick though. Stifled. Down goes Ward. Picked up by Pickin. Harbrow finds a way through. Back come the Dogs. Awkward kick. Gilby wrapped it up beautifully.
4 disposals for Griffin. Sorry, Dennis, I'm a bit slow.
Thanks, mate.
So wide to Johnson. He's played up the ground again tonight. Boyd, it's good handball in the end to Hargrave. He's been getting forward a fair bit. That's a lovely kick to Hill.
2 metres now, Chris.
Hill kicked a goal in the opening term.
That's it, come around on your ankle. That's it, Chris, either go back.
He's a very promising player, this fella. 20 years of age, 30th game tonight. Was a low draft pick. He was in the 60s, Hill. It's going to be a bargain buy, that's for sure. And across the face from behind.
You can see here from their last stoppage, Richmond were able to run away from there. Just on the right of screen, you can see the Bulldogs players just jogging along, happy to get down to support their defence on this side. But if Richmond were effective on that side, it was going to be no use. Not running hard enough to defend at the moment, the Bulldogs.
That did end badly with a poor kick from Polo. Otherwise, they probably would have scored. Good smother from Cross. Jackson continues to rack up the possessions. Long kick to the wing, reaching over the top. Lake will almost. Revolt wrapped up in a strong tackle by Minson. Tim?
Well, Nathan's spot on, because it's exactly what Rodney Eade was talking to his players about at half-time. He felt that's where they let themselves down in that last 8 minutes of play of the second quarter, when they didn't put enough pressure on Richmond when they were running from the back line. So already we've seen signs of that in this third quarter.
So Nathan was on the money, and I thought I heard a knock on the door. Here's Minson, slips it away. Weight of numbers around the football. Ward finishes up with Harbrow, who got it from Cooney to the outer side. Jan Siracusa comes back towards the middle. Well done by Gilby. Got there a step ahead of Coughlin. Wore one for his trouble. That's a beautiful kick. Pickin is marked about 45 metres out.
We know how effective the Bulldogs can be when you give them time and space, and especially a player like Gilby. This was a great lead to be able to hit the ball at its highest point and take that mark, and then lace out to Pickin. Great play.
Liam Pickin, Billy's boy. will step inside the 50, angle 45 degrees. Important kick, this one, and that's a beauty. Through the middle, Dogs back in front.
Out at half-time by Rodney Eade as somebody to praise. He thought that he's put his head over the ball and he's done a fine job so far.
He's had 8 disposals and a goal, and Delidio's only had the 9, so they'll take that for sure. Cooney on the end of a Boyd handball. Here's Griffin, who has been quiet, but he straightens up, and then that's a nice-looking kick to Hahn.
And for a moment there, they were going sideways, the Bulldogs, and this is when players like Griffin and Cooney are so damaging. They're going sideways here, and then Griffin decides, nah, we'll straighten this up. I'll take a risk and go through. The defenders were all on the other side because they thought that's where the ball was going to go. Great lead, great kick.
So finding targets inside the 50, Hahn gets the goal, and the Dogs have started the second half well.
Pressure on the run and rebound of the opposition is going to be the other.
Minson slamming it down towards half forward, and Johnson dug out of there by Polo. Cousins just back on the ground. He'd played 38 of a possible 74 minutes to the moment he came back for 10 possessions. Simmons did well, tambling across the ground he comes. Bowden gave it to Collins. Now Newman still inside the centre square. That's a well-worked kick. Just took something off it, found Tuck, spotted him well. Tuck inside the forward 50. Morton will fly in front, off hands to the back. Pettifer less than convincing tonight. Hand passes at the feet of Morton, back to Pettifer. Smothered off the boot yet again. Well done by Harbrow. Lake linking up with Jan Siracusa. Griffin a little undecided. Sends it down beyond the wing. Thursfield did better than Johnson. Newman a sweeper inside. Tambling's away. Sweeping kick. Goes inside the forward 50. And Revolt, one-on-one, takes the mark. About 35 metres out opposed to Lake.
Just pushing back half a step back. It's very difficult when you're caught under the footy as he was there. But he just plants his feet and just pushes back. And then half a step forward, and Tiller, I think it was, the Bulldogs defender, who just couldn't get at it.
Apologies to Brian Lake. So Revolt will kick from about 35. Important kick. They're all important at the present time of the game. So much in the balance. Just hangs it out to the right. Misses.
I was going to say how misleading disposals can be on occasions. Revolt's had just 6 touches. That was his 4th shot at goal for 3-1. Now Pettifer's had 16 touches, and I would have thought that he's been largely ineffective and ineffectual.
So Ackermanis, not big numbers for Acker again tonight. He only had, I think, 8 disposals last week against his nemesis after Crouch, after the big match here on the Friday night in his 300th. And he did kick a nice goal in the opening term. Harbrow put himself into a bit of a pickle, but Tiller back to Eagleton. So Eagleton hugging the line. That's a good kick. He's kicked that 55 metres and found Jan Siracusa inboard to Higgins. And then Higgins quickly on to Johnson. Got him. Jono's on. Off. And that little gives a beauty to Picken. He's not kicking as many goals this year, Johnson, but I'll tell you what, he's giving a few off.
So if you're a Terry Wallace and you were coaching on, you'd be tearing your hair out about Brett Deledio. He just let Liam Picken on. Liam Picken's pushed back hard into the forward 50 there, and I reckon Deledio's about 25 metres from him. Just can't afford to give any player that much time and space.
Well, he kicked 2 goals in his career before tonight. Admittedly, this is just his 10th game, but he's got 2 this evening to double his grand total.
Richard Tambling had to do much better across half back. Work forward by Cooney. Sweeping hand pass from Harbrow. Lake. Little 1-2 with Cross. Comes out wide. Higgins takes the mark, the defensive side of the wing. Just lob it towards the middle, and does that now. Morris, Cross, Harbrow. Harbrow a little undecided. Eventually, Hargrave goes long towards full forward. Eagleton almost the mark. Hands to it, couldn't hang on. Polo on his back. Eagleton feeds it forward. Stack's in trouble, finds it again. Missed Eagleton. Still got the football. Stack runs into trouble. And dare we say it,
Took on the tackle.
Stack's on the mill.
Took on the tackle.
Good call,
Right
Dan.
on it, please.
But I thought that was encouraging signs for a young player to target the ball and go hard at it 3 or 4 times. That, even though he got a free kick against, that was actually good play by the young player.
Rance got the handball out. Bowden inside. Couldn't take the mark, Collins. Picken's been terrific. Acker. Just went down in the tackle, Ackermanis. Now, such a good user of the ball. Who's going to provide the lead?
Come on, please, Jason. Done well, Richmond, to get back.
Gee.
Short 15, eh?
I'll say.
Now, Hudson.
I think the confusion was Bruce, he kicked it to number 15.
Eagleton gets it from Hudson and kicks to the goal square. Big fly came from Hill. Tamding couldn't quite take it. Rance kept his body over Johnson. Terrific again in tight quarters. Ball's out. Pickett and Deledio. Quick kick away from Bowden. Boyd onto it. Now Griffin could go all the way here. He's going to load up. And he does load up. And home it goes.
Now, as to what we saw late in that second term.
My footy, boys. Sorry, guys.
Runners out.
Sorry, fellas.
Next Nathan.
How are we going out here? Just wait for Ben. Just waiting for Ben. Excellent, throwing it up.
One of the characters, umpire Ray Chamberlain. Cotchin hurriedly down towards half forward. Hargrave. Griffin again getting an appetite for this now. Tiller. Cross. Back to Tiller. Hasn't had the best of nights. Revolt. Gian Siracusa took him down. Cross cleverly. Gian Siracusa goes after it. Foley taken high. He'll get the free kick. Foley coming up to his 23rd possession.
High on.
He's away.
Me.
Short one comes to Collins. Moves like a footballer. Goes down towards the pocket. Not his best effort. The mark is taken by Harborough.
What else would he move like?
A tractor?
Okay.
I don't know. You know what I mean? He sort of floats.
He does look good, then.
So Hargrave, a lot of Tigers around this, and a good result for the Dogs.
You'd think the jig must be up for Delidio to be in that back 50. I mean, Pickens virtually made him play full back. There's no swapping opponents by the Richmond defence to try and allow Delidio to get off halfback. You'd have to surely try and get him up in the middle of the ground. They now need his kind of run.
Cousins has done well in the clearances. That's a great kick. And Rewald's been a real target.
Stephen Tiller.
So Rewald to the pocket. And the mark taken by Pettifer. Well, Lee, you mentioned Cousins, not big disposals, but they've counted.
Well, he gets into space. He hasn't had a whole lot of kicks. He's only had 7 of them. But every time he's got the ball, you can see he carries the ball into space, and all of a sudden the ball moves forward quickly. Griffin does the same for the Bulldogs. Every time they touch the footy, there seems to be some penetration from their play.
Well, important kick for Pettifer. And he's wobbled it and hit the post. And without being too cruel, it's sort of symbolic of his career a bit, isn't it? Teasy, but doesn't quite deliver.
Son of a gun. Interesting there, we saw Ben Cousins, I think, chiding Ben Hudson, maybe about his whiskers. Ben, no stranger to a close shave. Out of defence, the kick comes wide from Harbrow, finds Hahn. Hahn looking down towards half forward. Wants a man to move to the middle. Not sure that wasn't some sort of decoy. That was a clever kick, one of 2.
And courage.
Yes, wonderful by Picken. Johnson was leading up behind him. Hill got a hand of that one. Chance for Stack. Tried to go to the outside of the boot. Still battles after it. Cotchin. That was wonderful strength. Deledio, Moore, Tambling. Feeds it forward. Foley back to Tambling. Now beats a retreat to the pocket. Back to the face of goal. To Polo from Newman. It was Bowden actually in the back pocket who sent it to Polo. And he just lobs it back towards the 50, where initially Tambling had the ball and decided to halt. So Tambling again to the square, this time to Joel Bowden. Casual as you like, back to Tambling. Crowd a little confused now. It hasn't been that sort of game so far. But just for the moment, it seems the Tigers are out of ideas.
They're pressing here, the Dogs. Putting the pressure on. Got the lead on the scoreboard. Goals have become hard to get for the Tigers suddenly. Jackson did well there.
Holding the ball.
Oh, he's unlucky.
That's the second. I saw one of those last week. The ball actually went
Free kick for holding the ball. Holding the ball.
over the line and out of play before the tackle was basically completed. But touch and go
to Stack to Hargrave. Then Hargrave decides just to go with a long one. Johnson the target.
Wash, Brad Johnson. You're going back at him, no eyes for the ball, and you're taking him out of the marking contest.
I reckon Jono might say, why me? I hate this pocket.
Clearly before the ball got here, you're taking him out of the marking contest.
If I was him, I'd miss.
Is he going to? Here we go. This is what he would have done with a bit more time.
I was listening to Jeff Geeshan, and he said this is actually playing on. Because you've gone off the line of the mark.
Is that right?
Poor old Jono can't win here. I reckon if he kicks the goal, everyone's going to be dirty with him. Well,
he's got it surrounded, Bruce. But isn't that interesting? Had he done that,
even if he'd gone inside his in line, okay,
he's off the line.
So even if he hadn't run over the line, it's play on, is it?
Well, you've gone to the side. I mean, he's setting up to the side. I was surprised when I heard it.
That was from McGeish.
Yep. I was sweating profusely at the time, but I think I heard right. Newman close to the boundary line, off hands, out of bounds.
This is one of the. It was Brad Johnson here going with the left foot. Of course, if that would have been play on if the siren had gone before he'd kicked it. But one thing we're actually seeing, the Bulldogs for the first time in a long time have actually been behind Richmond. Generally, Richmond have been in front of them, spitting out of the half-back line. But Bulldogs have been able to clamp them down for the large part of the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Picken, courage by both players there in the opposite direction. Coming hard was Revolt. Harbrow, cross falling to the ground. Higgins has got it. Actually, I've got an issue, an apology here. It wasn't the Geesh, it was one of the umpires. I heard him on 3AW on the Sports Today program. No name, not even a number. Here's Johnson. Number 6 is through. Room service, carries it like a waiter and kicks the goal. The weight is over from that pocket.
Like the Dreamtime game right now, isn't it, with Richmond? Remember, Essendon got on top in the third quarter after the Tigers had shown them a clean pair of heels early. Jackson, so important to them in the first half. McMahon's been quiet. Back to Newman. Well, they've got to get a goal here. This is where they were in the second quarter. 4.5 goals behind. Got a little less time here. Cotchin put McMahon into a bit of a dead end there. That's better. Straightening up. Well, Tuck was the guy that sort of got them going in the second quarter with that goal. Thursfield. McGuan. So they're sneaking up on it a bit here, the Tigers. This is the important kick, and he couldn't find a target. And Harbrow took a slip smart.
They've actually been able to do their work early in defence. The Bulldogs, they've limited Richmond's run, and then when they win it themselves, they've still been very effective.
Chance for Hill. Oh, well done, Bowden. Knew he had support behind. Goes back to Rance. That's a wonderful tackle by Cross. Coughlin slips it away. Thursfield chopped off by Cross. Releases Ackermanis. I'd like him from here. So much for that idea.
He's the guy you'd like on the left foot. Maybe Eagleton. Maybe from that angle on the ground, Eagleton even had a better chance. But Ackermanis is so good on his left side. That's pretty easy shot for him.
So they're back to lead it by 29 points. Bearing in mind they were up by 27 midway through the second term, only to trail by 2 at half-time. Another of the Bulldog connection. McMahon to himself. Simmons is the target. Over the top, Hudson didn't touch the footy. Johnson tries to feed it out. Boyd slaps it hard at Griffin. Stolen away by Johnson. Gives it to Cooney in the pocket. A centering kick from behind Hill. Had it knocked away to a dangerous spot. And letting it run on. Bowden quite happy to concede it behind. Rance over the top.
Johnson continuing to be a very important player for the Dogs, and Rance's handball gave McGuan a bit to do, and now Bowden's in trouble. Gilby, good tackle. Bowden didn't panic at least, got it away. McGuan, gee, they're flirting here. Moore, who started in the front half, under pressure. Can he find a target? He does. Tambling, that's okay. Straightening up. Patterson wide, kicked a couple of goals in that second quarter. Good and well done. Little kick, gets to Gian Siracusa, and then a beautiful kick. Holes appearing everywhere now for the Tigers. And Cooney running into a space.
Yes, if you control the footy, you control this game, because it's there's just so much. But it's one of those games where it looks like you're being played on a gigantic ground. There's that much time and space. And it's only a matter of whether the skill execution is good enough to maintain possession.
Well, they've had 12 goal kickers tonight, the Dogs. This will be number 13 if he can slot this through. You feel like he's building, Cooney, don't you? The last 3 or 4 weeks have been pretty good.
Yep.
And tonight he's had a great duel with Jackson. So the Brownlow medalist from last season. Good kick. He's the 13th individual goal scorer, and the Dogs get the big lead in the match.
What we were seeing then last week in the third term, 8 goals straight against Fremantle. The Tigers, tonight just 2 behind so far. Hudson trying to lay it down into the path of Cross, who's got the football. Going nowhere.
And Dennis, they kicked 2 behinds to start the match, the Tigers, then 12 straight, and now another 2 behinds in this quarter.
Yeah, the graph is all over the place, isn't it? If they were patient, you'd be worried. Gian Siracusa.
I think they have been for a while, don't you?
Boyd around the outer side. I got a very funny quote from a Tigers supporter. I'm not game to mention it, but I might give you some insight as we roll on. Jackson, depending on the scoreboard. Cousins goes back. Now Newman smothered off the boot, ricochets across towards half forward. Brilliantly done by Ward, and then the kick from Ackermanis. That smother setting things up, and Gian Siracusa has got the footy.
Well, this is great ball control to change his decision halfway, and this is a great smother. Have a look at this. He's halfway through the kick, changes his mind, pulls it back in, and then just chips it across to Gian Siracusa.
Gian Siracusa, a recipient of that pass. Well, how could you defend that if you were looking at it? You didn't suspect the kick would go there. Gian Siracusa slides it through. Another goal to the Dogs. Gian Siracusa gets his second.
He was doing well in the middle. I'm not sure why they haven't just kept him and let him run around the middle and just see what he can do.
He's not going to get used to beating a tag if he doesn't get exposed to it.
Well, it's an interesting question, Lee.
It's been interesting.
If you were
Delidio. Go some room out the back, please,
this is not being silly. If you were coaching Richmond, where would you be playing Delidio?
Well, I don't know enough about him. That's what I mean. He's a first-round draft choice. He's been in the system 5 or 6 years, but he almost looks like a small Paul Medhurst type, occasional midfielder, but he never gets a lot of the footy, even though occasionally he can really impact a game.
Oh. There he was, impacting there in a contest with Tuck's high ball. He's kicked 75 goals in his 95 matches, so...
Yeah, which is, well, not enough. Not enough he's a goal kicker. He's a... Well, at the moment, he just hasn't quite done what you'd want first draft choices to do. He hasn't been able to take the game by the scruff of the neck, even though he's been good at times.
It was a pretty hot draft too. Roughhead was at 2 and Franklin was at 5.
Yep.
Griffin at 3. And this man was at 4. As he kicks to Polo. And that'll be it. So symbolically, it's Delidio that can't quite get off the field. He's sore, and the Tigers...
Daniel, get your ears checked, mate. I called it. Thank you.
He is a character, is Razor Ray, giving out a bit of advice. So the Tigers limp, don't they, into three-quarter time, and Terry Wallace has got 1 more to go. It's the Dogs charging away here. It's 118-76 on Friday Night Football.
Dry smile. Last quarter, and the Dogs with bigger fish to fry, looking to get closer to those top 2. stake their claim early in the round. Eagleton out of the middle, kicks it down towards half forward. Polo leads in the race. Griffin closing. Cousins. Limited game time tonight, but he's been good. Thursfield, Polo runs up to the wing. Polo kicks it long down towards the attacking 50. Over the head of the big man Patterson. Step to step with him was Lake. Finding a way through down there was Collins. Left the ball behind. Lake falls on top of him. And the umpire will ball it up about 35 metres out from Richmond's attacking goal.
Cousins and Cross have resumed their battle off the wing there, and I was just watching them in the first minute of that play. Cousins got a handball receive. I reckon he put 10 metres on Cross in about 40. He's definitely got that edge and pace that Tim spoke about early in the match.
There's Cross, getting it to Cooney. And then Cooney short to Johnson.
3 metres, Will! 3 metres, Will!
Johnson. And Hahn, who was on his way off, as you can see, Gian Siracusa coming on. So Brad Johnson, 335th game tonight. It's closing in on Chris Grant's record of 341 for the club. Jackson back to McMahon. And then McMahon's centering ball's a good one. Now can Polo use it? Important that he does. They just need to get a sniff. He's 50 metres out and he's given them a little sniff. Their first goal after half-time.
Billy Ray Cyrus model. Big start, slump, comeback. Over the ball is Simmons. And that ball's not coming out. Ball up. 36 points the margin. Early going final term on Friday Night Football. Could that man in the middle be the replacement? Who knows? Rucks go at it again. Hudson still going. Hudson. Ooh. Bit of venom in that tackle. In the back, says the umpire. Well, that's a pretty harsh call.
No advantage.
But he tried to turn him. Hudson's getting the free.
Just in Jade Rawlings. Wasn't in the coach's box, was he?
No.
No, he's in the stand, so he actually hasn't been at the footy. I know he's been the reserves coach, but he hasn't been in the match committee or in the coach's box on match day.
Is that a benefit or a hindrance to the caretaker's possibilities, Lee?
Kick from Hudson.
I'm thinking.
And Bowden gets it back. Kick well done, Minson. Minson's been good tonight. That's high.
He's picking the footy up well.
So
left the mark.
Probably doesn't make much difference, I don't think, Bucks, but I'm not quite sure why he's not in the coach's box if he coaches the reserves.
Play on.
Yeah.
So Cochin wide. I don't know. I wouldn't have a clue. So what I'm about to say, you can forget about. I just got a feeling it'll be Wayne Campbell.
Yeah, he's been. I think he's been the.
He's the one I'll be least surprised if it's his name.
Nearly the guy that they thought was going to be the heir to Wallace's throne whenever it happened.
So Stack, now Cooney, Harbrow. That's out on the floor. So that announcement apparently going to be made tomorrow. We believe that the 4 assistants are going to be told tomorrow morning before they go to the club, and then we'll all know. And then it will get very interesting as well, because will the interim coach hang on and be part of the long-term future? Who knows?
Hargrave very clever to Boyd. Hudson feeds it forward. Boyd gets it back from Harbrow along the line to Johnson. I was thinking Rawlings more perhaps is the man who might get the job next year, but who knows? It's a remarkable situation at the moment. And the first piece of the puzzle will fall into place tomorrow morning. Well played by Newman, getting it out of bounds.
I mean, way back in 1986 when Bob Rose rang me the day after round 3 to say, would you like to take over as coach? I will always remember that moment. So whoever gets the call tomorrow is going to remember it very well.
Here's Foley, twisting, turning, in trouble, knocked away from him. Tries to regain it. It's out of bounds again.
Did you expect the call, Lee? Did you think it was coming, the call? Did you expect it that Sunday morning?
No, it was. I mean, we'd lost the first 3 games, Collingwood, at the start of 1986, but it still came out of the blue, the call from Bob Rose.
Did you want the call?
Yes. I'd been assistant coach for 6 months, and I still hadn't worked out what assistant coach did.
Ron? Cochin.
You know now.
After all those years at Brisbane, have you worked it out? Here's McGuan beyond the wing, still going. Looks inside the forward 50. Instead, gives the hand pass across to Tambling. Might kick it this time. Sends it across the face of goal. Hangs a long time in the air. And the ball played against the behind post. I think you were saying before that the week after, the game you had was against a side that hadn't won a game either. Is that correct?
And Bob Rose, I'm sure, handed over the job because he knew Geelong hadn't won a game. It was a Victoria Park game. Gave me a good chance to start off on the right foot. That was the kind of man Bob Rose was.
Boyd kicks. Just had the impression, knowing Lee over the years, Dennis, he's happiest when he's in charge. Here's Eagleton. Johnson has been very, very good. Still running hard, trying to create. Well, that wasn't very creative. Thursfield picked it off. Simmons got down low to McMahon. Got through in the end. Newman had to arch the back. Back to Bowden. Back to Newman. Run down. Good stuff from Hill. And then Tuck just had a bit of a fumble. Down to you, Tim.
Well, Brett Delidio, who we saw hurt his right hip just before three-quarter time, is still on the bench. Now, the bloke who wants him back out in the ground at the moment, though, is Foley, because he's now been picked up by Picken, and he is wearing him pretty tight.
Simmons reels it in. Charging in there was Harbrow with a lot of courage, diving on top of the football.
Richmond free kick.
There you go.
Will, let it out. Yep.
Well, it showed too much courage, as it turns out. He just threw himself in there and finished up on top of the footy. So Jackson, an emerging player, Jackson, just finds the football, goes with the spiral. Well, that's a terrible kick onto the chest of Lake. Lake just pops it over the top. Hargrave celebrating his 150th in style. Up goes Hill and takes a strong mark. Newman flipped him on the way down.
Just a loss of discipline and game plan there with that kick by Jackson. It's just not something that you would expect, not something that his teammates would have anticipated either.
Harbrow, long kick, got the hand pass, sends it down towards the pocket. It bounces out of bounds.
I think the Bulldogs' pressure since half-time, probably a couple of minutes after half-time, has been first class. They've been able to 58 tackles to 47, actually Richmond's way, but they've been able to squeeze Richmond's run that they enjoyed in that first half of the match.
So Griffin's wide kick. He's had a pretty good second half. Numbers aren't high, but he had an influence, didn't he, when they probably needed it, when the scores were close after half-time. But he's probably at an interesting stage in his career, Griffin. Newman running out of the back half. Well, he put Cochin under the pump there. Not sure about that idea. And given the benefit of the doubt.
Down to it. Tackled straight away.
Just his fourth game this season, Cochin.
Coming straight back.
Nathan, at the start of the night, talked about when he gets a good pre-season into him, just how effective he will be. He's a thinker. He's a good user of the ball.
Fine.
And for the president there, I guess he knows the answer that we've been looking forward to hearing tomorrow, and the challenge ahead, because Richmond has not been a force for a long, long time. Here's Cousins.
Clayton Lipreed, I think he said, you know, Buckley's address. Where's that door? Hahn, McManus, John Siracusa inside the 50. Johnson can't get it. It bounces out of bounds. Well, I think the excuses are over for this group of players, regardless of what happens tomorrow. Interesting, the use of Ben Cousins tonight. Hasn't seen a lot of game time. Just looking at total time in the game, 106. That's minutes. Ben Cousins has played 64.
The least of any Richmond player.
What's that tell us?
He's been used as a burst runner and he's done it very well.
Yeah, but he was a good player with 25 last week and set up a lot of things for them. Still, Delidio up towards the wing, Tambling. Held without it, taken high, whatever you like. Picken gets a free kick just forward of the wing.
He's one of the success stories of the year.
He's carving out a spot for himself. He's become a really good, hard-working midfield tagger. Obviously got forward, kicked a couple of goals. He's he's just about establishing himself in this Bulldogs team.
Here's Lake. Got something, Lake to half forward. Dying to say something about Lake in this last quarter. I might say it now as Jono goes out. Lake actually made his debut in that round 21-02, which was Terry's last game as a Western Bulldogs coach. That was the day that he played his first game for the Doggies. So there's a little bit of synergy between those two guys.
And that was against Collingwood. Carlton, I'm sorry. They played against, what, Collingwood the following week? I'm just trying to think, because they were in that last game, weren't they 50 points down? And
that was against Carlton. They trailed by 9-1 at quarter time and got beaten by a couple of points.
That's right. Totally confused I am now. Bowden to Polo. Little chip over the top. Whoops. McGuan coughed it up. The short one comes across from John Siracusa. Higgins broadens things. What a beautiful kick.
Just that little shimmy that Higgins put on sent all the defenders going the wrong way and opened up time and space for not only his kick but for Johnson in receiving. Good pressure there by Stack on the mark. I think any time you're defending, you want to slow the opposition down, and manning the mark is one way of doing that effectively. It was good play.
It wasn't Lake, by the way. It was Harris that made his debut. He's changed his name, of course, hasn't it?
That's the confusion. Started out as a forward and has been a terrific defender. Here's Johnson. Has it got the carry? Yes, I think it has. Brad Johnson from long range.
And he's done his best tonight to make it miserable for the old coach in his last game. He's been terrific, I reckon, Jono.
He has.
So Cooney to Gilby, out wide.
We're talking about Liam Picken before. I played a couple of games with him at Williamstown, and he's always been a tough nut, a hard, as we said, a handball by Cross, brilliant. He's been a tough nut and a very disciplined player, and he's just never given up on his dream to play AFL. It's great to see a player like that rewarded.
Did he get close to playing for Collingwood Bucks?
He trained one pre-season, but was looked over for a rookie list spot. But as I said, he hasn't given up. When Williamstown went under the radar of the Bulldogs as their affiliate side, he kept performing and got his break.
Well, one of the best things he's done tonight is kick 2 goals. It's always handy when you can play off someone and hurt them on the board as well, isn't it?
Yep. Well, he's not he's not a free-running, skillful footballer, but he's the type of bloke that you need. Every good team needs one of him in their side, and he definitely plays his role very well for the Bulldogs.
There's Rance on the outer side. Thursfield comes across the ground, bounces to McMahon. They're just using the ball, crisscrossing the ground at the moment. They've gone forward about 15 metres, but now they create something. Here's Collins. That's terrible. Boyd, Ackermanis, Harbrow, Cross. Higgins is breaking, and so too is Eagleton. Eagleton is metres in the clear. He'll get the football now. Took a while to develop, but Eagleton's got it down in the pocket. Had it got there a bit quicker. He was about 30 metres out directly in front, but he had to run to the kicker because it was too far to kick, as it turns out. Still, all's well that ends well, and Gilby's got it. Well, that face is a face of mixed emotions. A nervous smile, perhaps. So Gilby, virtually directly in front. Kicking is his forte. Beautifully done.
2 big guys wrestle a bit. He is combative, Hudson. Ex-Crow, of course. Got injured at a bad time for Adelaide in that year when they were going so well. I think they missed him in the finals. He's done pretty well at the Dogs. So a series of handballs there by the Tigers. Collins gets it to Coughlin, to Tambling.
1 metre, thanks. Thank you, Jared.
So can they do something to put a smile on their fans' faces? And to Lidio. Well, he's had a passive game, hasn't he? He's just nothing much has happened for him tonight.
Well, probably when you put a tagger on a good player, often if you can keep the good player to a moderate game, you say the tagger's won his job. But I would have thought in the duel of just purely what has Picken done, what has Delidio done, Picken's been a better player. So clearly that's been a really good matchup for the Bulldogs.
So just his 4th kick tonight, and that one across the face of goal, and an easy mark to Brian Lake, who's got Acker running for him.
Is it right half back, and the veterans away. The second bounce carries it beyond half-back, still going up towards the wing. Well done. Drew a man, went to Eagleton. Now this guy can really matter. Griffin lobs it over the top, end-to-end stop. Back it comes to Eagleton from Minson. He lines up at goal. One of the best goals you will see all season. That will be on the highlight reel.
Dogs. With that hard run, I think he was a run-with player for a little while, and he really turned his career around.
He's a great inside 50 man, isn't he?
Yep.
You love him with the ball in hand. So Morris to Harbrow. So in the end, it's going to be an easy win for the Dogs. And they stay in that top 4. They pressed hard last year. They got a flying start last year. Fell in a bit of a hole, but they were competitive in the prelim final with Geelong. Who knows?
No, Daniel.
Right now, you'd think they're probably the 3rd best team in the comp on what we've seen so far this season. Tambling wide to Pettifer.
Hey, Jason!
It's going to be an interesting selection for Richmond's next team, isn't it? Who's in and who's out?
Yes.
Good on, please, Kane. Good on.
Here's Pettifer outside the 50.
Goes for distance. Sends it long down towards the goal line. Off hands and across it goes. Well, I suppose if the incoming coach is given his head, we'll learn a bit about what he thinks in terms of the players that will be on the list to see out the season and beyond.
I reckon the next coach will be happy with his player having a shot from 55 and kicking it to within half a metre of the goal line.
Richmond learnt that time to hang back, and it serves them pretty well. Gilby ran it up, but the kick went straight to Joel Bowden. Combines a little 1-2 with McGuan. Pettifer got a hand pass to Cousins. Well, none of his teammates really on the move for him. Coming through centre, Bowden. Coughlin, Pettifer. That was clever. Controlled it pretty well. Cousins in the frame again. His hand pass went at the feet of a teammate there, Newman. Newman to his feet quickly. It was a strong tackle on Gian Siracusa.
Thanks, Jason.
There's Lee's top 4.
Well, that's Brad Johnson. I probably think he's probably been the most valuable player on the ground. I think Tuck has been very good for Richmond, kicked a couple of goals, very good in the clearances. And I think Jackson has also been good in the clearance. He's been playing on Cooney, so it's a direct matchup, but I think they've both been very good players for their respective teams.
Now Foley, quick kick. Hahn working back. Now Griffin, much better second half for him. Lake gets it from Boyd, and then cross to Harbrow. Harbrow's shearing kick to Gian Siracusa. He's got Acker short. Probably go over the top here. Hard running, really hard running from Morris. That was terrific. And now Hill on the burst. Again, it's very good build-up. The Dogs have been smooth in this second half.
Alex, wait.
So Hill with a couple of options. He may go the journey now. How hard is it, Bucks, when you're exhausted to kick a long ball like this? I mean, Hill really sucking it in.
He's a good kick.
He is. He's kicked the goal straight through his second. And the Bulldogs are going to have a very big win on Terry Wallace's last night.
A player free up that half-back line. Morton's come straight off the ground after not chasing him down nearly hard enough.
Cousins chases his own ball. Not much run coming from behind. Collins has got it. Comes out towards the wing. Simmons takes a good grab. Now, since half-time, it's 11 goals to 1. Simmons searching kick inside the forward 50, and the mark is taken down there by Delidio, just ghosting across in front of 2 other players. And he'll kick it goal from about 20 metres. Can he stop the rot?
2 contested marks in a row. Or that, if you call that one contested, but too little too late. But speaking of Cooney, he's really only played 3/4 of the game time, 91 minutes out of 116 odd. and still yet picked up 30.
Delidio puts it through.
Minson up high. Foley fetched it off Cooney, and then Collins inside the 50. And Pettifer went to ground. Morris, well done. Handball inside. Higgins. Cooney. And back to Cross to Gilby. Wide again. So big night for the young Stack, this boy, who came in tonight for Murphy. So Murphy, important that they can get him back and fit. He's had some hamstring problems and such a key. But Stack, they'll be pleased that they've been able to get him into the main team for his first game. Cochin away.
Characteristic run to midfield. Not the best of hand passes. Intended for Patterson. Wonderful courage by Cooney. Minson, Eagleton, given the scoreboard. Cooney above and beyond the call of duty right there. Higgins a lazy kick, but it bounces obligingly for Hill, who turns around and kicks another goal.
Sons, Cameron, the youngest, I should say, and Brent, the oldest, at 17, and Cameron 14. Georgia, his daughter. And Karen, of course, his wife, and his
pickup.
Here, Florence tonight. So Hill, who's had a good last quarter, out wide. So the challenge ahead for the Tigers. West Coast at home, and then the Saints, Adelaide, and the Blues.
There's Boyd after the boundary throw in. Sweeping hand pass back to the pocket, taken by Hill, going at his fourth, and he's kicked it. He's enjoying it. This is a rout.
And pressure has just dropped off completely.
Here he is again. That's a great pickup to Picken, to Eagleton. He's going to go back to Picken, but Hill. He's having a great last quarter, and then lace out to Ackermanis. He's got a couple of shorties in the middle. I think he fancies going all the way here, Acker. Is it coming back? No. In fact, I think it's a point.
Thank you, Brad.
I reckon that looked inside the line to me, but it should have been a push in the back.
Terrific.
Newman to the pocket. Polo. And now Tuck. Nobody near him. Can take it and go. Does. Trying to pinpoint the ball to Cochin. Knocked away by Morris. Took the arms. That's a rare sighting these days. Cochin gets the free. Alongside the centre circles.
Time back on now.
This is one reason why you'd be inclined to look at Richmond. Cochin, going to be a terrific player. Revolt, a promising forward. There's Morton, who started the game so well. Revolt ignores that lead. Morton hightails it back towards the square. Long kick in. And he finished up marking it between his knees. He's a very good mark for a man who's not overly tall. Just has wonderful judgment late.
Play on that 15, play on that 15.
So Cooney decides to run it up.
And delivers into a hot spot for the Bulldogs. Gilby was outnumbered 3-1. So confident are they? Collins, high tackle.
Shoulder. Right on the midge.
So a couple of first-year players coming together. One in his first game in Stack. And Collins is playing his 8th. Keeps it low. Good-looking kick. Couple fly. Revolt couldn't quite. And Harbrow didn't really get a handle on it, but he did well. Tiller, Tuck, handball goes to Griffin. So in the last minute of Terry Wallace's coaching career, the Dogs have got control. Hill, spectacular last quarter. Down Siracusa, collision coming up. Gilby tapping forward. Hahn, strong body, isn't he? He's a good finisher, Eagleton. Just the wrong beats.
I reckon that's the best running I've seen all night. Eagleton took off the defensive side of half back, ran Rance, who's A good running player off his legs on the outer side. That was just fantastic. Given the nature of the scoreboard, I suppose it begs the question, why would you bother? Well, you bother because you care. There goes the kick down towards half forward from Patterson. Oh, big leap, strong mark taken by Simmons.
The easiest time to run hard is when you're 10 goals up and the opposition aren't stopping you, because you can get an easy touch, an easy goal. But
oh, that was really strong running. Here's Newman. There's the siren. 157 to 89. 501st game as a player and coach. An inglorious second half. And I guess in many respects it sums up the 5 years at Richmond. Flickers of promise, but in the end snuffed out. Friday night football, the Western Bulldogs big winners.
It's what you do hope is that whenever there's a down patch, as Richmond's been in, and maybe the coach says some harsh words and relationships tend to get fragmented by that harshness, but really that forms a really good basis for the next coach. The next coach comes in new and fresh, no baggage, but those harsh words are hopefully still ingrained into the previous players from the previous reign.
the dynamic changes totally, doesn't it? I mean, it's a total, it's a flick of a switch for them. I mean, all their careers are now on the line because there's a different bloke taking decisions.
Let's go down to Tim and Terry.
Well, Terry, it wasn't the end perhaps that you were looking for.
No, look, I mean, the turnovers just killed us at the end of the game. I think they had 15-odd goals from turnovers over the game, and I mean, that's modern footy, isn't it? If you can't hang on to the ball, you're not going to win.
Your emotion right now, is it relief?
Oh, look, it's been a long couple of months, and, you know, Tim, you've been through the same thing. Look, it's a difficult time in your life, but, you know, look, I love the game, and the game's been fantastic to me. I've always sort of said I'm not going to allow this sort of period of time to affect. It's been a long journey.
Take us inside the huddle at three-quarter time. What did you say to the players?
Oh, look, it was just more business as usual, just trying to work out. I mean, we stopped running in that third quarter and just sort of started to chip the ball around, which has been the nature of what we've done in quite a few games this week. So it was just trying to get a bit more run and carry going in our game again. Nothing more than that.
And will there be a post-mortem?
Oh, look, I'll have a chat to the boys at the end, but I mean, it's just finishing off the work in the correct manner.
Well done, and thanks for all your time over the years as well. I mean, you've been a terrific participant. Well done, Terry. Cheers, mate. I know Rocket Ede's standing over there. He'd like to shake your hand too.
Yeah, their careers, they played. Lee, you played with them, didn't you, the two of those two guys?
Teammates. Well, Terry walked off alongside me in my last game, so whenever you see probably walking off here last time as a comparator, it's very, for Karen, his wife, the involvement is something that all of a sudden becomes very sad when it finishes.
I think a lot of people are going to miss him. He's been exciting in his own way, hasn't he, Terry? There's always things that happened. And Karen with him there. To the
back strongly in the second half.
Yeah, we're a bit disappointed with that last part of that second quarter as Ryan gets cheered off, which is fantastic for his 150th game. Congratulations, Ryan. But yeah, so we talked about at half-time. We got things going, so it was a good third quarter by the guys to get back into it.
And what about your own form? I mean, you're back to the absolute best that you've probably played over the years.
Oh, I don't know about that. We're working extremely well as a side. The last month and a bit's been really good, and we're starting to build, and that's what we were endeavouring to do over the season.
Well done. Cheers.
Yeah, he was terrific. Was Brad Johnson. So on a night with a plot and some subplots, the Doggies get a big win. They match their big score of the year that they got against Freo in round one. And for Terry, well, no tomorrow as far as coaching for the very last time, eh? All the hopes that he took to Richmond. He said earlier tonight that he felt that his time at the Bulldogs had been successful, but not here at the Tigers. So that was it. It was 89 to 157. 24 goals to 14 on the Friday night game.
Where's your cup with the boys of the
So the Western Bulldogs improve their record to 7-4. They win on Friday Night Football by 68 points. Resounding performance in the second half. 24-13, 157 to 14-5-89. Richmond just the 2 goals after halftime, and Josh Hill outstanding late in the game with 4 goals. Adam Cooney, after I suppose struggling in the first half against Daniel Jackson, finishing with 33 possessions, and certainly I don't think any of us saw this coming at halftime when Richmond led by 2 points.
No, their ability to get back into the game. I suppose that last 10 minutes of that second quarter, the Tigers were inspired, and they were able to go into half-time ahead. But you know, if you give the Bulldogs their head like that and play free-flowing, uncontested footy, generally they'll get over the top of any opposition.
Interesting last week, Lee, we saw Brad Johnson have 18 possessions, didn't kick a goal. Tonight, 21 possessions for 2 goals. But he's playing good footy.
Well, he's mainly playing forward half. If you can get your hands on the ball 20 times, kick a couple of goals in the forward half, that's a really good effort. So he always looks like he's got that perennial youth about him. Always looks happy on the field, and he's certainly moving okay. We know he's been around a long time, but he's certainly moving well enough to think he's got plenty of footy left.
Is his role changing?
Well, I think he's mainly played as that forward role for the last few years, to be honest. Occasionally in the midfield, but mostly forward half. Sometimes he plays as a small full forward. Sometimes he runs around half forward. And we know that half a dozen players that constitute that Bulldogs forward 50 tend to just rotate through different parts of that area.
So the Dogs big winners tonight. Let's go down to their rooms now. Tim is talking with their coach, Rocket Eade.
Well, Rocket, that was a really powerful, strong second half of footy.
Yeah, probably the first 20 minutes of the second quarter was okay. The last, whatever it was, 7 or 8 minutes of the second quarter was very disappointing, and that we knew Richmond would be up and going, and now they've got some talented runners, and so quarter time I wasn't too displeased, but just the last 7 or 8 minutes of that second quarter is disappointing. But we spoke about it at half time, as you heard, that there's some areas we needed to address, and I think the players, to their credit, really did that.
I know coaches don't like to individualise, but Liam Picken's job tonight on Brett Deledio was outstanding.
Oh, it's terrific, and obviously then they tried to get him behind the ball, and Pickers was smart to kick a couple of goals, and he sticks to his task. I mean, he's tough and he can play some footy, and I thought our youngsters were terrific. Callum Ward was, I think was a real catalyst in that third quarter. His pressure and his chases were terrific. And young Jared Harbrow was good as again.
And Jono, I mean, he seems to have found some real life in his legs again.
Yeah, he just works really hard, doesn't he? And there's a couple of players there tonight who are his opponents who just couldn't keep up with him, and even his game last week. No, he was down a bit as far as quality of stats and goals, but he just took Craig Bolton out of the play and just exposed the rest of their defenders. So he's a very unselfish player, and his leadership's terrific, and as you said, his running ability's getting back.
Well, thanks for your time tonight. It was a pleasure to listen to your measured tone and approach at half-time.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.
So the boys talking there about the matchup that we're going to take a look at now, thanks to the Orion freeze cam, that clash between the man on the ball, Deledio, and the man that went with him tonight, Liam Picken.
Yeah, well, when Deledio went to half-back, he definitely didn't play tight on Liam Picken. We can see Picken on the edge of the centre square there, the ball going forward for the Bulldogs, and Deledio's just floating around through the midfield. A good contested mark here by Johnson, a quick play on, and we stop it there, and Deledio's no closer to his opponent. I reckon he wasn't able to bridge the gap between how he wanted to play and how he had to play on his opponent for the night. Played different roles and was either forward or back for most of it after being nutted in the midfield by Picken, and just wasn't able to adjust to the contest and the one-on-one battle that he was faced with tonight.
So 13 possessions for Brett Deledio tonight. Sean Higgins, a worrying moment for the Bulldogs in that second term. Looked like he may have been seriously injured, but he came back, kicked a goal immediately, and really had an impact.
Yeah, he's a very good high-quality player. He goes left or right, kicks well either feet, seems to have good vision, can pick out teammates in the forward 50. But we talk about trying to predict what's going to happen in the future. I guess we saw he went for a mark at one point, fell a little bit straight leg. We see it there. Now, another centimetre or two, that's almost cruciate ligament territory. So you never know what's going to happen from week to week. He was lucky he was able to land and not hurt himself, but a very talented player.
Nathan, this is your wheelhouse. We've got those dream team points for Toyota.
Yes, and Daniel Jackson was fantastic. He obviously picked up a lot of the ball, and he's a tackling player as well. So that's one of the reasons for his high scores. Tuck kicked a couple of goals in there. But as we said, it was a freewheeling game. Lots of kicks, lots of marks, high possession. So anyone who had players in tonight would be happy, Dan.
As we said throughout the contest, Ben Cousins, not a lot of game time. Obviously, his clash with Daniel Cross was preordained, I think, by the coaching staff, or Terry Wallace in particular tonight. They used him in bursts. You made that point, Nathan.
Yeah, he played limited game time, but geez, when he was on, he runs as hard as anyone does. I mean, Daniel Cross is a worker. He just plugs away, and he'll run the same pace from the first siren to the last. But Cousins' burst running was able to get away from him on from Cross on occasions, and when he was able to get on those runs, I mean, he was quite damaging with the ball. And as I thought that it just looked to me, it's the first time I've seen him settle into this style of football and have a real impact.
Are you harming yourself doing that there, Lee, do you think?
Well, the continuity of football is what he hasn't had this year. Obviously didn't play at all last year, so having the continuity of football, we've just seen in a month's time. At the moment, he's got that little burst for really just small parts of the game, but as he gets match conditioned, then hopefully he'll be able to do that more often, and then he'll become real value for the Tigers.
So after Friday night football, the Western Bulldogs now at 7-4. They win tonight by 68 points, and of course, more footy coming up right here on Sunday.
Sunday on 7 begins with game day at 10.
Yeah, let's go.
With Nick Revolt and Lee.
You are terminated.